One of the strange issues coming out of the NFL this past weekend, there have been multiple strange issues with the Falcons lately. We had that weird Bijan Robinson. He was ill and they didn't tell anybody.
Yep.
Then on Sunday, in their loss to the Titans, Desmond Ridder leaves for a concussion evaluation. He's cleared, but they don't put him back in the game. Arthur Smith, the head coach of the team, said, well, something seemed off, but it wasn't performance related, so we didn't bench him for that reason. And it opened the door for Ridder to get the start this weekend against the Vikings. Here's Arthur Smith yesterday explaining that the quarterback this week will indeed be Taylor Heinicke. Have a listen.
So, just for this week, just with all the variables, just kind of consider everything the last 72 hours and what we feel is good, best for this week. For us, against Minnesota, Taylor will play this week. Yeah, there's a lot of variables, and then really just, like I said, consider the last 72 hours and just kind of where we're at right now going into this week in Minnesota, getting ready to play the Vikings. Obviously, a really good team coming in here is going with Taylor, and that's why he's here right now. And, obviously did a lot of – Des went through all those tests. He's clear. He'll be available, but just right now in the short term, it'll be Taylor this Sunday.
But I guess didn't you see, or what did you not see enough of?
Those are private conversations, and I understand, Mike. I mean, those are legitimate questions. I'm just, keeping our internal decision making and private.
So, just to be clear, so is this a medical decision then with this, or is this a?
Just when I answered about a lot of variables, my answer is not going to change. And there's a lot of variables that go into it.
He was doing his best to keep his hands attached to something so he wouldn't have any tells as he was saying this week, over and over again, this week, and all the variables were the factors. This is the softest benching that he could possibly do of Desmond Ridder. I think that's what this is. This isn't a benching, but it is a benching. But It's not a benching because we don't want to hurt this guy's confidence, and we want to be able to go back to him whenever we would like to go back to him. Because the thing about Taylor Heinicke, he will come in, hair on fire.
That's right.
And he will play with reckless abandon, and he will give the Falcons a great chance to win some games, and then that fire is going to go out at some point, and that's when you put Desmond Ridder back in, and you got to sell this whole 1 week at a time, this game, this week, all the variables, this week, and that's what they're doing for now. And if they would win on Sunday, it's going to be a different story for their next game.
That's right.
And it'll be that game. So they're trying to not abandon Desmond Ridder, but also win football games this year. And it's a tough needle to thread, as evidenced by Arthur Smith's clumsy effort to thread it.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. I think it's the right decision, though, right? We've been talking about this for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, just about Desmond Ridder. I like the kid. I understand what they like about him. There's some physical tools to like. And I think they like the human himself and think he can lead a football team and be their kind of quarterback. He's not there yet. That doesn't mean this is all over for Desmond Ridder. And, like we talked about, like if this ruins him, then he ain't your quarterback in the future, right? And they're going to be delicate with him. They understand it's still a young kid who's dealing with a lot, and there's a lot of pressure on your shoulders and people talking crap about you on the nightly news and social media and whatever else there. Right? So, yeah, I think they do want to make sure that Desmond Ridder understands that, he's still valued by this organization and by the coaching staff. But at the same time, I give them credit for making the move, right? There's just things about the way Desmond Ridder has played that, the game at moments has looked like he's a deer in the headlights a little. Like where you've heard me say in previous weeks, there's been some throws and decisions where you go, that's not, and you've heard me in the viewing rooms on Sundays a few times. With other guys that played in the NFL and Jason Garrett who, back me up. So it's not just me, loudmouth, whatever, but like decisions where you go like, whoa, like that's a mistake you make as a freshman in college right there. You didn't see that was cover 2 and you tried to throw a hitch route into it or whatever. So I think there was some things there that would make any coaching staff go, Now they're trying to give it a soft landing like you're saying, but to me, This is setting up where they want Heinicke to take over. They're going to be delicate with Ridder, but, you're making the switch this week against Minnesota. We'll see how it goes, right? They're playing better on defense. The next week is the Arizona Cardinals, right? Should be able to win that game. Should be able to win both games. And then you go into the bye week. That looks like you're setting it up for, hey, we want this guy to take over and give us a strong second half finish to this season because we think we're a playoff team with a little bit better quarterback play.
There's going to be a lot of Arthur Smith twisting himself in knots, though, to keep this going.
Yeah.
This ruse isn't going to last for long if they start winning with Heinicke, because you can't say, if you're Desmond Ridder, at some point, it's like, don't put this idea on me that I got a concussion evaluation, and even though I was cleared, I've got some lingering issue that is one of the variables that keeps me from playing. I'm fine. I'm ready. Like, at some point, just call it what it is. Why are you treating me with kid gloves? I go back to your point, and we've made this in the past about other quarterbacks.
Right.
If you're going to crumble because you got benched, if you're going to shatter in the face of adversity that comes up between the months of August and December, good luck thriving in January, ever. I mean, that's the thing that wakes up the giant within a quarterback.
Right.
An indignity. Something that pushes a guy to the next level, that makes him pissed off, not go roll up in a ball and say, woe is me, and I'm going to have to go do something else with my life now. So, yeah, you can't tiptoe around the situation. And because this isn't, if it was a different injury, they could say he'll play when he's 100%. And then he's just not 100% until Taylor Heinicke is not, playing well.
Right.
You can't really do the 100% thing when you're talking about somebody's neurological condition. It's not fair to the player. It stigmatizes him in a way that I think is not useful or helpful. And you just can't. I just think it's hard. When the guy's being cleared, I think it's hard to keep this, well, we're a little concerned. It's in his best interest to not play. If they win the next two and they go into the bye week,
right,
that's when they need to come out and say, we're casting our lot with Taylor Heinicke until further notice.
That's right.
And he's no stranger to getting benched.
Right.
He's been benched before.
Right.
He doesn't care. He'll go play his ass off until it's time to go take a seat.
That's right, Mike. And you said it a few minutes ago. He's a guy that'll win some games and play with his hair on fire and do some things. But as we know, too, he'll lose some games, too, if we look at his history. And he'll do some crazy stuff and throw the ball to the other team right in their chest a bunch of times in a game. Right, so that's where I say to Desmond Ridder, yeah, be ready, big guy. Don't let this get you down. This is a common story in the NFL, even for the legends of the sport. Go back and look up Terry Bradshaw and how the start of his career worked. Hey, my own father, he got benched multiple times in his career. If Joe Montana can get benched after winning 2 Super Bowls, anybody can get freaking benched. John Elway got benched for Nick Maddox. I mean, we can go. Troy Aikman couldn't get on the field at first because of Tommy Maddox, excuse me. Yeah, Troy Aikman.
Who the hell is Nick Maddox?
I don't know. You know what? I think he was a great running back when I was coming out in high school. Actually, that was a top recruit. But either way, yeah, Troy Aikman couldn't get on the field because of Steve Walsh at first. So hang in there. This story's not over, and Heinicke's not that good to where you go, oh, he's definitely going to solidify his job as a starter the whole year. There might be a moment. He's a smaller quarterback. Like you said, he plays a dangerous game. He could get hurt. He could throw a few interceptions. You need to come back in and be ready to go when that time comes, Desmond Ridder. So we'll see where this goes with this Atlanta Falcons football team.
And it was Steve Berline, by the way, that kept Troy Aikman off the field. Steve Walsh was the guy that they used a supplemental first-round draft pick on when they had Troy Aikman as the first overall pick.
Right.
And Jimmy Johnson had an issue obviously arise.
So it was Berline and then a little Walsh too, though, right? Am I getting my facts mixed up there?
Berline was the starter in '89 at first. I don't know how much they played Walsh in '89. At some point, it was Aikman taking his lumps.
The year they went to the playoffs, right, in '91, and they beat the Bears. I'm pretty sure, and they lost to the Lions. I'm pretty sure that was Steve Walsh was the starting quarterback in '91. Right?
I thought he was with the Saints by then. Steve Walsh was traded in 1990 to the Saints.
Okay.
So he would not have been the
Good
quarterback
job. Way to go.
in 91. However, he did start 5 games in 89.
Okay.
Which is that I don't remember that. Maybe I was so caught up in the Herschel Walker trade aftermath that I didn't realize he started 5 games. But Steve, they had too many Steves that year in Dallas. So you were right. I'm sorry. You were wrong about Nick Maddox. You were right about Steve Walsh.
Thank you.
You're batting 500, which in baseball is great. So congratulations for that. And by the way, Nick Maddox was a Major League Baseball player, according to Pete. But I don't think this is the Nick Maddox you were thinking of.
No, I wasn't thinking
because
of
he was
him.
a right-handed pitcher for the Pirates from 1907 through 1910.
I had Greg Maddox on my mind, which I know is the Hall of Fame pitcher. I was like, it's one of these damn Maddox guys. I couldn't quite figure it out.
All right, here's Taylor Heinicke from yesterday. Since he's the starter, he's the one that spoke to reporters regarding how Desmond Ridder responded to the fact that he won't be playing this week.
Yeah, it's tough. It is. There's no kind of beating around the bush there. Again, I've kind of went through this last year with Carson. And then the difference between Carson and Desmond is Carson has been in the league for a long time. This is kind of new for Des. So, he's handled it very well. He's speaking up in meetings. He's very engaged. He's helping me out any way I can. So to see that from a young guy, that's really cool. Just speaks to his character and stuff. So, again, we're still pushing each other. He's preparing like he's going to play. God forbid he might. So we'll see. But Des has done a great job today to hearing the news and coming to work.
Yeah, I mean, what else is he going to do? What else is he going to do? He's got to come to work, get to work, and keep focusing on his development. By the way, there were no Steve Berline starts in 1989. It was 5 from Walsh and 11 from Aikman.
Okay.
So, bravo.
Thank you.
They did have a lot of Steves back then. They had Steve Pallure, Steve Berline.
Right.
There's a lot of Steves playing quarterback for the Cowboys in the late 80s and early 90s. So, oh well. No Steves playing quarterback for the Falcons. Taylor Heinicke, Desmond Ridder on the bench, and we'll see. And look, you're right about Heinicke. I remember the Washington-Minnesota game last year when, Heinicke had them in position to win the game. But there were 2 or 3 throws that were like, what the hell was that?
Right.
And it should have been intercepted. And I don't know whether the defender was just surprised that he threw it, but there's one of those near misses, multiple of those near misses every game from Taylor Heinicke, and he seems to get lucky a lot.
He does.
Or his numbers would be a lot worse, and maybe he wouldn't keep getting these chances.
I know, you're right. He is one of those guys that I think a lot of times last year I was like, he's got the biggest horseshoe up his butt that I've ever seen, right? I mean, he really does. He was leading the league, I think, in dropped interceptions last year. So yeah, he's crazy. He's fun to watch. He is. That's why he's fun. He'll go 3 quarters, and you'll go, damn, he stinks for 3 quarters. And all of a sudden, they need 2 drives at the end of the game, and you go, who the hell is this guy? All of a sudden, he's on target and making great decisions and making plays, and they pull out the game, right? So that's where it'll be fun to watch. And I give Arthur Smith and company, credit here. I do. Again, do not double down and be so stubborn in the fact of like, hey, wait, we think Desmond Ridder's the guy, so we're going to just ride him no matter what here, and we're going to prove everybody wrong. Right? This is okay. This is okay to do this for the better of your football team, and really in the end, it might be for the better of Desmond Ridder and his career too. He gets a chance to step back. He's going to look at it from the sidelines. I've been in this situation before, and you sit there a little bit in these times and you go, why was I making it so complicated? Like, there's a curl, there's a flat route, just whatever way the defender goes, throw it to the other freaking guy. I mean, as a quarterback, you can get in your own mind with more information and overthink and overanalyze, and maybe this can calm his brain down a little bit as he sits and watches a little.
And Pete reminded me that Taylor Heinicke brought us the moment last year in that Washington Vikings game where the defensive back for the Vikings was taken out by an official.
Hit the referee,
set
right?
up a long touchdown
Right.
pass. So horseshoes up the butt all over the place for Heinicke, but that last year was the year that the Vikings had the endless supply of horseshoes. They ended up winning that game, along with many others that they should have lost, but somehow found a way to win. And as to what you're saying with Ridder, I agree completely. I just really don't like this. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Almost right on cue. Down goes. That's Cam Bynum got took out there by the official, and there's the touchdown, Curtis Samuel, and it felt like Washington was going to win that game. I just wish they would be a little more straight with us.
I hear you.
I like Arthur Smith. I don't like the version of Arthur Smith that is a clunky, clumsy, not teller of the truth, because it's obvious what's going on. Why not just say what's going on? I think that's better than standing up there and creating the impression for people like us that he's really not being straight with us. Why don't you just be straight with us? I think it would be better for everyone, including Desmond Ridder, if you just be straight with us. Treat him like an adult, not like a little kid. You're not trying to protect him from anything. Tell it like it is. Say what it is, and it's okay. To your point, if he's not going to react well to that and thrive, he's just not suited for this business.
Yeah. No, I don't know what the reasoning is. The only thing I can kind of come to a conclusion there on that, and why you would kind of give that kind of soft, waffling answer on there, is just that maybe they're just going, hey, we want Heinicke to prove it, right? He's got to prove it. If he can play good the next 2 weeks, then he'll have it, and he'll come out and say it. But maybe he's trying to kind of light a fire under Heinicke here, so he knows, like, hey, this isn't yours, like, for the rest of the year guaranteed. You're going to have to play well and take care of the football and do the things, do things the way we expect you to do them. So maybe there's a little bit of that gamesmanship, psychology, whatever, with Heinicke as well. That would be the only other thing I could think of there.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.